low-wage migrant workers are provided with immigration clearances to travel to Saudi Arabia. You may be interested to know that over the last 25 years, Saudi Arabia has attracted the most number of low-paid migrant workers from India. You know, together they send back close to 500 billion Indian rupees, approximately 8.2 billion US dollars every year. As you know, India tops the remittances all across the world, and Indian migrant workers employed abroad bring back 70 billion US dollars every year. Just to make a point, that is greater than the IT exports that India produces. For Kerala, remittances account for greater than 30% of the state's domestic product. As you can see, migrant workers contribute to nation building activities not only in the countries that they work in, but the countries that they're from. But however, India, despite of this enormous contribution to the national income, is letting them down. We at Amnesty International India, when we spoke to workers that had come back from Saudi Arabia, found that they were deceived into jobs that they had not agreed to, that they were paid much less than what was promised, and they were made to work much, much longer hours. Their passports were routinely confiscated, and their residence permits were also sometimes confiscated, making them vulnerable to detention and deportation. These are the same people that bring in that kind of money. In some cases, migrant workers found it difficult to even get exit permits to return home. In the worst case of abuse, they amounted to forced labor, where you're forcing people to work for jobs that they don't want to under the threat of clear penalties. We would like you to please take note of the problems for Indian migrant workers. They start at the home country in the pre-departure phase. It begins with them being deceived about their jobs in Saudi Arabia. More than 30% of the migrant workers that Amnesty spoke to said that they've been deceived by their brokers. And that deception happened for a range of things. They were deceived about their work conditions, including their wages, the type of job, and the number of hours they would work. They were deceived about the amount of money that these employment visas actually cost. They were sometimes even deceived about the legality of their work agreement. As you know, under Indian law, visa brokers are illegal and face up to 2 years in jail and a fine of up to 2,000 Indian rupees. But the majority of workers that Amnesty spoke to said that they paid brokers for their visas instead of going through government certified recruiting agencies. And they paid large amounts of money. They paid between 1,20,000 and 2,50,000. That is, if they work for 2 years continuously, that is the kind of money that they would have been able to make. So once these visas were bought from these visa brokers, they had to go to recruiting agents. Because only registered recruiting agents by the Saudi government are permitted to complete the visa application process, which essentially involves stamping of the visa on the passports. Since the migrant worker, so in that particular case, we found that 14 recruiting agents from Kozhikode, Trivandrum and Cochin confirmed to us that they did not conduct the due diligence that they were supposed to, and they said that it was not part of their job. But this is clearly against the order from the Ministry of Overseas Affairs that the due diligence for visa stamping for Saudi visas purchased by migrant workers must be stringent as it is in regular recruitment. That is, even if visas are not directly supplied by recruiting agents, they must conduct the due diligence. They must find out whether this person is being employed by the employer, whether they're being paid their wages on time, so on and so forth. One of the crucial challenges is the lack of information and awareness that migrant workers face. And the Ministry of Overseas Affairs in 2013 strongly acknowledged this and said that this made them vulnerable to exploitation. In 2012, in Kerala alone, 100,000 workers were granted immigration clearances to work abroad. NORCA programs that the government in Kerala conducts only reaches out to 3,500 to 6,000 people. And we're not even sure that they're all migrant workers that are going to work abroad. And in the interviews that Amnesty conducted, none of them had attended a pre-departure program. The Protector of Immigrants, which is set up by the Immigration Act, is responsible for regulating recruiting agents and protecting migrant workers. But you know, statements from Protector of Immigrants in both Cochin and Chennai have said that they don't have the capacity or the resources to regulate recruiting agents. Before I conclude, I would like to say that when migrant workers face abuse in Saudi Arabia and they come home, they'd like to access justice. Between 2011 and 2013, the Protective Immigrants in Cochin received 53 complaints against visa brokers, but not a single case had led to a conviction. None of the workers that Amnesty International spoke to had tried to access remedy. Thank you for listening to me patiently. I'd just like to point you to a few quotes on the presentation at this point, which is what happens when all these things that are not done finally comes upon the migrant worker, and he finds himself in a position of despair in Saudi Arabia. Thank you.
Thank you.